Welcome everyone. This is the Kubeflow graduation call on 22nd of April. This meeting will be recorded and published on YouTube, and this meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Welcome everyone. This is our first Kubeflow graduation call. I'm super excited to get it started. I think just to give the context for everyone, we start to do these regular calls to discuss our action items and work we need to do to finally put Kubeflow to the graduation stage under CNCF. So we're going to hold this meeting every Tuesday, every second Tuesday, and we're going to discuss items we need to work on. So maybe just, before we kick off, like, do we have any new people here in the call who just want to introduce themselves to the community? We just want to say hello. Feel free to unmute yourself or put something in the chat if you want to say hello. Right, I think then we can get started. Yeah, go ahead, Takesh.
I'm not new, but I think I started attending calls from Jan. So yeah, finally this is April when we are going to go through graduation phase. So yeah.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you. Nice to see you here. Yeah, I think the overall goal, we need more people who want to help us, and especially working group leads and people who do the work. So because there are a lot of things we need to do to bypass the CNCF graduation. So we definitely need to onboard more contributors to work on the action items. All right, so I think maybe we can kick off this discussion with tracking issue on GitHub. Right, so maybe this, Mati, so yeah, just to give a context, right? So we have few criteria we need to meet. We need to meet before we can call ourselves a graduated project under CNCF. So just for the context, in the last KubeCon in London, we met with the CNCF folks and we're discussing kind of what is the future of Kubeflow, and right now they think, and also we, many community members, think that this is a high priority for us as the community, as the project, to move forward. Because CNCF right now doesn't have any other AML projects under incubation stage, and I think Kubeflow is one of the most mature project in this area. So I think it's kind of give us an opportunity, the momentum to finally become a graduated project. So more kind of users, and especially new new companies, see the value what we've done for the last 8 years, and see how they can use it, especially when we become a graduated project. So there are several and we believe this is a high priority for the entire community. So the goal of this call is to sync with all the working groups, with all the projects we've been working on, and see what are the action items we need to do to go to the graduation stage. So in general, this is the action, this is the checklist, and this is, I think, not the full checklist, but some of those criteria we already kind of can handle. Like, for example, committers, at least from 2 organizations, the core infrastructure. I think one of the kind of most important thing for us is the second item, which is OpenSSF badge and security audit, because this will require a lot of work from all the working groups to feed the security requirements for all the working groups. So I think maybe one of the steps that we already, I guess, started, so Mati, if you can open the second issue from Francisco, this OpenSSF badge. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so this is actually, this is the badge we need to receive for every Kubeflow project we're going towards graduation. And this badge is required for us to handle several action items, several things around security, also things around governments and other things. So I think what could be the next step for every project, the Kubeflow project, to do, it's to generate this badge, right? So I know Ricardo already has done it for Kubeflow pipelines, and I think we have an open PR. It's already been merged there. We've done the same for Kubeflow Trainer. So we probably need to do the same for all other Kubeflow projects so we can track the progress there, right? Any questions for these kind of action items we need to do? Yeah, go ahead, Manda.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. So we have, thanks to Paul also as well, a PR raised for moderation. The follow-up question, and I don't want to jump the gun here, but it's some of the items in this to generate this badge are sort of like self-reporting. So are you going to speak about how we can start the work to track on it? Because that is the very next question that people will ask. I see you are 19% done for model registry. How do we at least fill up the questionnaire so that we can start to have a progress towards 100%, please?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Ricardo, go ahead.
Yeah, well, following Mateus' question here, speaking about the pipelines project, how should we proceed on filling up this form? Is it something that we need to sync up with the general community or KSC about the criteria being met in the OpenSSF best practices? Or it's up to us to just say, hey, we believe we met this criteria, and then we'll mark as this criteria was met.
So we need to fill the form, right, and send it to the OpenSF folks to review, right? I guess, right, Ricardo? Because I haven't explored this part yet.
As far as I remember, it's free for us to check the questions here. But I don't remember if there's any review from the OpenSSF to mark this as met or not. Probably need more information about this. But yeah, if it's up to them to mark this as criteria is met or not, good. We can proceed with doing by ourselves. The other question I have here, I think I posted that in the Slack channel. One of the concerning topics I have is that I created the KFP OpenSSF page for using my account, but I didn't see any way to like share this ownership to others or even transfer ownership to that. Is it something that the Kubeflow community sees as a concerning topic in case like some contributor create this OpenSSF for a component and then it becomes unavailable for some time?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like how we can share the ownership between this, OpenSSF badges we're creating in their website, right? Because you can only log in live using GitHub, right? Do you know, is there any way for us to log in like using the bot account, or they don't have such, bot account here? So you can only use email, right, to create those badges.
Also, are we doing one for the whole project or one for each component?
Yeah, it's a good question. So
I can help finding out that.
yeah. So maybe as a follow-up, Valentina, like if you can help us to clarify, because Kubeflow is like an ecosystem, right? We have multiple projects. I know like for incubation, we've done the audit on the testing infrastructure for every project separately. Like what Katip is doing, what Pipelines is doing, like what training operator was doing, right? So maybe towards
it's also part of the, sorry, Andrew, just to answer that. It's also part of the form to inform the project repo. So since we have one per component, I believe it's per component that we need to do this.
Can you share your screen, Ricardo, to understand what is it that you are referring to?
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
If
so
I'm
I think
allowed
like
to.
so the screen that Matthew is sharing right now ask you to sign up using the GitHub account.
So no, it actually says you can use. So I think we should set up a Google group email thread thing. You know what I mean? So that and use that email to sign up, if possible. Because it says that you can use an email here if you don't want to use GitHub.
Okay, so we can use the public email, right?
Yeah, and then we can add people who need access to change it to that, and then store the password in the one password or something.
Can we transfer the ownership of the existing created badges to the new account, like to this shared account?
I'm sure we can ask them to do it, right?
Yeah, maybe it's
yeah, I can figure it out if you guys want and find out more about that.
Yeah, let's definitely try to see if there are any example when people using the kind of system account, right? because I think there are a lot of projects under OpenSSF, like more than 10,000 projects, right? So maybe Valentina, you can explore if there are any other examples when people use the system account, right, to sign up and create those badges, right?
We can definitely do that. It's just a question of how we just need to get them migrating the existing ones, right?
Yeah. So
like we're definitely able to do that. There's no way that we wouldn't be.
Yeah, and I think after we create the system account, I can reach out to them to ask if we can just migrate this.
So how many of them do we already have?
Just two, like the pipelines and.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Let's add the action items, right? So should be next steps, right? So can you help me?
One. Open S. What's this called? Open S.
Open SSF badge, right? Open SSF best practice badge. I think the question is like what email we should use, right? We have steering committee email. We have, I guess, Google Discuss.
I think don't do the steering committee one because we want to be able to give people who aren't on the steering committee access to it. Yes. And then badges. Create a new account using this email on OpenSSF website. Add password to, and where is it here? One password. Of course, anyone could reset it using that account as well if they needed to.
Yep.
And share with some XXX people. I don't know. Ask OpenSSF Foundation to migrate existing badge ownership to the new account.
Yep.
And so, I think it's good. Which ones do we have? Which can we list the ones we have already?
Good. So let me link it there. Kubeflow. I think we also have for Kubeflow. I think Adita previously created this. Let me see. Oh no, it's actually only Kubeflow trainer. This one. So.
Oh.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think I just need to add Kubeflow pipelines there.
Okay.
So this one, I think, like Ricardo, I think Matteo Bocca in the question around selecting the checklist, right? So from my understanding, yes, you can edit it, as I can see by yourself, right? You don't need to ask them to edit it. But I think like the working group leads should be able to do it, right? For example, to verify if there's, I think if there are some things which needs to be done, you probably need to create a tracking issue and start working on this, right? For example, like the project website must provide information how to obtain, provide feedback, bug reports, enhancement, contribute to the software. So if the working group, I believe, leads and chairs believe that this has kind of already been implemented, we can just mark this down, right, in the content section.
So you want basically that after sort of like the action item that is written below is correct, the password will be shared in the one password, and each working group can start to autonomously fill it with the same account. So rather than Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think we should just give the permission to working group chairs, and then they can start working on this. All right, so going next. So Valentina, do you want to share maybe your doc and go over the items so we can discuss other things you've been explored during the last week?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see.
I can also just open it if you would like, or would you?
I can. Okay, let's see.
Or you can do it as well. I don't mind.
It. Yeah, if that's okay. Okay.
Yep. You should be able to.
All screens. Okay. Okay. Okay, so everyone can see the public checklist graduation. Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
So the process that I went through yesterday was I started reviewing some of these. If we go through this, the link has been moved on to this other one. So this is the foundation I took in order to start looking into the new items. Since this issue was created almost 2 years ago, And if we look, there've been a lot of changes in the template. So that's something to keep an eye on it. So this may not be up to date. So the one source that we are using is this spreadsheet, which is open to everyone. And the way I work, I did it was, let me click again on this, this thing. I took this template. This is coming from the Technical Oversight Committee from the CNCF. And what I did is just copy and paste it basically, but I built each area in different tabs. I felt, I don't know, it could be more easy to follow. So here what you will have found in this spreadsheet is the spreadsheet on the agenda as well. So if you are not there, you know, you can just open the file. So here we have the link to the template, and then here this section is linked to the specific page, to a specific tab here. So the way that starts, it starts with the application process principles, and then here is, this is mostly for the tag, most of it. Yeah, so right now we do have the checks. The ones that don't have a check is because it's a comment, so just be aware of that. The other thing, most of the sections, they do have a suggested and then they have a required. So in this one, they didn't list anything, but as required, this is at some point. I don't think we need to do it right away, but it will be important, I think, for us to start talking with the talk members if we haven't. I don't know, Andre, have we connected with them? Do they know we are going through this stage right now?
Yeah. So yeah, I think I need to probably send them email as an action item, right? Because I know, like, for example, security audit is a separate thing, right? But do we require? So I know we need to engage with TAPS, right? With what is it? TAGs, technical advisory groups, right?
Yeah, the tag. Yeah.
I think this is fine. So, but I think the question: do we need to engage it right now?
I think that what I have seen, for example, for the sandbox is after they have done everything, they go through that meeting. So I think that will be the process. That's my understanding, but that's something we need to double check with them because something we need to ask them. So let me add a comment. Double to check if when we need to do this. Talk. I think it will be nice to have, an overview with them. Like, this is the plan. We are taking this template. We are going through this list. And then they are aware that we are working towards this list.
Yeah. So do we think that we should open an application right now and just, keep it? I know they have a template, right? And we can just highlight it. Yeah, go ahead.
What I saw was most of the issues were created once it's done. Okay. That's what I saw, but maybe we can ask them as well. They already have everything, yeah, let me see if I can find.
So should we just copy paste the issue? I know issue. So Matthew, if you try, so this is you're sharing your screen, right?
Sharing my screen. Yeah.
If you try to open new issue here, right, in the CNCF TOC.
I mean, you can, yeah, but like let's do it as a clear plan.
Yeah. So no.
I think they open it once it's ready. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
We need to talk. We need to check with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, like, my question is, like, do we want to copy paste the template to the community repo for us to see, like, what the items we need to work on, or what do you prefer? How do you prefer we define the next steps?
Yeah. So one thing, just to put a pin on that, like, seems to me that they are marking everything once they have it, but something to ask them. So based on that, I do need to update our issue with this information, this new information. So that's something we can do.
Yeah, that would be super helpful.
Yeah. Then, the tag provides insights, recommendations of the project in the context of the landscape. So I guess this is a meeting with them. So we need to find out where this will happen. All project metadata and resources are vendor neutral. And then here is the definition of what it means to be vendor neutral. So we need to review this and ensure that we are compliant with this. Is a whole document. Review and acknowledge of expectations for graduation process and requirements for moving forward for the CNCF maturity level. So this is, I think this is probably also at the end. And additionally documentation, installation, and so on. So then there's coming more a lot of the work that I think we have some of it, but probably we need to start reviewing. We need to review each item and ensure that we do have it. So the governance and maintainers, for example, this is something that they are expecting us to have a document, a publication that really explains what is the governance of the project. This is the suggested. The suggested is they are expecting us we create it and then we evolve towards that. So, but the required is that we do need to have a governance project documentation. So in this case, I found some projects as well that they have implemented governance, so we can look at what others are doing. There is a governance from the CNCF. I don't know if it's here, like here. There are some guidelines as well. Why governance?
Yeah, I think for sorry for interrupting. I think I started this issue. I already saw some comments, from Matthew and from Ricardo, other folks. Like we already have government structure. It's clear, it's vendor neutral, it's already there. We just need to have a page where we're going to redirect folks to these documents, right, from the website. So right now I have like 3 committees. We have working groups, outreach committee, and steering committee. And we need to redirect folks to the charter and so have a clear page on the website. So this I think we easily can do.
Do we want to use this opportunity to review like that those are up to date? Like, I mean, I'm not saying like any change to the charters would need to be approved, but like what I mean is like, for example, there's people who have left the project who are listed as leads and things like that, like those.
Yeah, I think it's a good point, Matthew. I think like, we definitely should clean up the working groups and review. But the problem is we don't want to block it, right? I hope it will happen async. But yes, we probably should, update our charters like for working groups specifically, right? And not the charter, but like the clear instructions of how working groups operate, right?
Yeah, making it like maybe making a policy around working group. I mean, we have one already, but like, okay, that's actually the big thing that I think you're right, Andre, is that we need to make right now it's kind of, there's proposals that are kind of adopted by the community, but like aren't in an obvious place. So it's not even clear that there's a binding proposal, for example. There's a rule which says you're not allowed to have documentation on the website for vendors, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's just in a proposal somewhere. It's not even in it's not even in like a folder of decisions by the KSC or something, like
yeah, I think it's a good point. Having this single page on a website which will redirect all these docs we have everywhere.
I mean, like in the repo as well. It's more like we need like a governance structures and then governance decisions or something, and then also.
But I would say this is the next step, right? At least initially, we need to have a page on a website which shows all the government's parties, right, within the project.
Yeah, but that's we've got governance groups, yes, like working groups and KSC, those kind of things, and we need also like things like the elections are just in a random proposals. That's my issue, is that like stuff that's like some KEPs are intermingled with governance decisions.
Yeah.
And like we're going, like it seems weird to go back and update it's weird that the elections are not in like a document. They're in like a KEP that's being updated. Like it's very strange. Like things like that.
Yeah, so I think we need someone who can volunteer for us to propose some, to organize these docs. I mean, we don't want to move them from community repo, right?
No, that's what I mean. In the community repo, we should have like, at very least, kind of a community structure folder, which just contains all the charters. And then maybe like a KSC decisions folder, which we can move some of those KEPs into, and also I do think the elections should be in their own repo, but in their own folder.
I think it's already in their own folder. Like I think Amber has done this before, right?
I think it's
a
KEP.
So no, one thing I think we need to look at what others are doing, and the ones who graduated, how they are presenting the information, and we can, I think we do have the content, but maybe it's not organized, as Matthew was saying, on the way that it should. So taking the opportunity, to review, okay, what other projects are doing with the governance, how they are presenting the information. Are we missing anything, right? Like the contributions that are not technical, how we are rewarding these people. I don't know, everything, and start building this content. So I know, Andre, you create an issue. Maybe, I can connect that issue.
Who can volunteer us to work on this and help to organize docs? So
do we want first to go over everything and then people can decide? because even for me it's hard. Like, I don't know, there are so many
Okay.
things I do want to talk
Also,
to.
I just confirmed, Andre, there is a folder called elections, but it only contains the results. It does not contain the KEP is still the
even
one that's...
the process, right? The process.
Yeah, the process is not in that folder, which it really should be.
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
it doesn't mean we need to do everything in the, in the one PR, right?
No,
I
we
think
actually shouldn't do it in one PR. Yeah.
I think we should start with small, at least creating this, blueprint or template page, which only maybe show like the information we have in the community about section, and then slowly update it, right, with the things you're talking about, Matthew.
Also, don't
Like-
forget, just pro tip to anyone updating the community website, repo, it's driven by YAML files. You don't edit the working group charter sections directly. Just as a side note.
So, yeah, so if anyone want to volunteer to help us work on this, I mean, I think I'll link this issue. So just, feel free to assign and start, at least creating this initial, like the initial page, right, with information we have in an about section, right, about steering committee and working groups. At least moving this, I think it's a good first step, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Would you mean updating them or just when you
No, just moving them, right, and their own separate page, and then we slowly can update.
They already have their own pages. What do you mean?
No, but they are right now when you go to kubeflow.org. Like if you open kubeflow.org, they're right now sitting in about section inside the community section.
That's that you'd expect there to be a governance section of the about, right?
No, but I mean, talk about we don't have dedicated governments page.
Yeah, but it should still be under about. It definitely should still be under about.
Yeah, under about governments, right?
Yeah.
About such
Hey,
government.
could we try to size some of this stuff, like a large, medium, and small? Because I think it's going to be easier to get people to join in when we can say, this is a medium, it's 20 hours. I know that we're guessing completely, but something.
Yeah, this one is small for me. This one is very easy to do, like the work that I'm asking to right now. The previous one, I don't know, how do you want to size it in the doc right now? What do you think? Any suggestions?
I next to them,
Okay. Yeah, so I guess let's maybe assign. So Matthew, can we assign the tasks on the spreadsheet, on the Google Doc? At least we know like who is working on this stuff.
Okay, so we're talking about cleaning up the community. What's over there? Creating governance page on website. And to be clear, this is not going to be a binding governance page. It's just going to point to the existing ones. Like we're only going to have one source of truth, which is the repo. Please, community one, that is. And notes. This page is so we have something to link people to that will point. So I think we do need to agree on which folders in the community repo are binding things as well. So like, we need, because right now it's kind of like spread around, proposals that might have been adopted historically and then unadopted or changed. So we need to have like, these are the truth. This is the current truth, I think as well. But that's in a separate thing.
Yeah, but maybe what we can do is just, whoever takes the lead on this, they review what's there, they make a proposal, and then we discuss it. Because I do want to go over the rest of the items. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Maybe we just need to find someone in the committee who just want to step up, right? And want to drive this.
And then the person, well, maybe they will have another idea. That is amazing. We never thought about it. I don't know. But give them the time to that person to find out what could be the best option. I'd like it. Just one page, link it, but let's try to cover the rest of the items. So the other ones are contributors and community. I am leaving a column here for volunteers. So, feel free to, add your name as well. If you have maybe just, a couple of hours and you want just to pick an item, let us know. So in terms of contributors and community, the suggested is contribute to the ladder with multiple roles for contributors. So I think we do have some of this in some shape, but that's suggested, so it's not required. But the required that we do have a discoverable and defined process to submit issues or changes. Projects might have a documented at least one public communications channels for users and contributors. The thing about communication about our channels, the sub-projects, non-public communication, I think we do have all of that documented. Up to date public meeting schedules and integrations with CNCF calendar, and documentation how to contribute with increasing detail as the projects more matures. We really can improve some of this. I think it's not much what we need to do here, but it would be great if someone can review it, ensure everything was there, and see if we need to include something. Any comments on this?
I think mostly for all this we met because we followed the working group guidance, right? My only concern
Yeah.
about like individual projects, like how we can ensure the diversity, right? Yeah. Do we know about any specific projects where we have contributions only from single organization? Like which we need to kind of, talk about.
What do you mean?
What?
So sorry, like those points about like the diversity, right? Around contributors and
Yeah.
main. Do we like how are we going to measure it? Like are we going to measure it in like entire ecosystem? Maybe we shouldn't go too detailed to every project, right?
I think we should
Like
use the overall affiliation thing,
Yeah.
and then we should
Yeah.
also use the working group leads, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe starting with working groups is be sufficient for CNCF, right? We don't need to be too detailed to go to like very specific projects or maybe one small thing that person is working on, right? Yeah. So I think like all of this we can easily tackle it already. So I think it's fine.
The other thing that I'm wondering is, for example, when they say demonstrate contributor activity and recruitment, like how we demonstrate it, are they expecting us like to add a paragraph in the issue, or
No,
how do we need
I
to
think
put
like
in
the
a
one that
document?
Eder is linking is like very useful. So I have Linux Insights and also have the dev what is it? Dev stats, right?
Yeah, but also we need to talk about recruitment. So, and then we can talk about the events that we do. And,
Yeah. Like event summer of code, right? All of this is very easy for us to just
But I guess that will be listed in the issue itself. I don't know. When we create the issue, we
Yeah. So
explain
Melina,
it.
what do you think about this? Should we shall we create like some sort of subtasks for all of this kind of section? Section contributors and community in the
Yeah.
Kubeflow community repo, and then we can see like what we already can check in, right, and what we need to work on. What do you think?
It will be, I mean, yeah, it will be a lot of work. Maybe in the ideal work for me will be like if someone takes the lead from each of these, they are the ones who are taking this and say, okay, I will be doing all these things in order to accomplish this. Because if not, I think if we start looking into that, like there is a lot of work for, I don't know. I would prefer for the person who takes a lead into each
No,
specific,
but
having
I
someone.
think like why I'm asking to do it because then it's easier for us to find volunteers, right? For example, you can create an umbrella issue for contributors and community, and we can say like 5 items we already can say we already made it, right? But we need to work on one item, and we can find
Okay, got it.
you can work on this, right?
So you're not saying to describe what is that we need to do. What you're saying is just to create the issue for contributors and listed this here.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can say,
Got it.
yeah, this like umbrella issue for
Yeah.
contributors and community, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so people can understand themselves the issues. Yeah, that's
And
good.
if you can help us, Valentina, is like if you create the GitHub issue directly with a checklist, I think that now in Markdown, I think that now GitHub sort of like very easily create a sub issue for each of the Markdown checkbox. So that is very easy as well to segregate each of the bullet items in a way that sort of like once we find the volunteers, we can assign it to that person.
Yeah.
It should work.
Okay, the next one is engineering principles. So this one, I don't know but document project goals and objectives to illustrate basically what is the difference in what is the differentiation that we are bringing into the cloud native landscape, and our lands have this project fulfills an outstanding need or solves the problem. I think that shouldn't be difficult for us to do it. And then at the end, let me see. This requirement might also be satisfied by completing a general technical review, which we need to find out more about this, what this means to do this general technical review. Then document what the project does, why it does it, including viable candidate use cases. This could be satisfied also by the general technical review. So we need to find out about the general technical review. Then document and maintain public roadmap. So this is something that I wanted to do as release manager, to start looking into roadmap, because I know some of the working groups, we do have some milestones that we are working, but not every working group has, but we don't have like a roadmap for Kubeflow as a whole. So then we need to document how the roadmap process is documented and how it changes. Then overview the project architecture and software design. I think we already have some of this, but also it could be satisfied with the general technical review. And then the guideline on releases. So we need to specify release expectations, schedules, the features implementations, the tags, stable and unstable, security-related releases, information and branch platform and support, the length of support. I don't know, we need to find out about the support that's mandatory for us or not. And then the artifacts including the release. I think we are doing this, but I don't think we are doing them stable and unstable. And then the release expectations is kind of.
I've been trying like one question. I think maybe what would be also useful to explore what Argo was doing, because Argo, I understand it's different from Kubeflow overall, but Argo also has sub projects, and then Argo also went through graduation just to understand like how they explain their release criteria, right?
Yeah.
Useful for us, right?
Do you have a contact there that we can reach out? If not, I know some people.
Yeah, I have a lot of we have a lot of contacts, but we also have like the issue where you can take a look. Like for example, this one, I can see that they link, for example, best practice batch. JC linked it for every like Argo CD, Argo rollouts, Argo workflows, Argo events, which kind of like what we've been discussing in this meeting today, right? Similar
Let's see
thing.
if I can copy this. Can I copy? Okay.
Yeah, because.
So yeah, I think this is the overall, like this is one of those things that's going to take time because it needs to get an agreement, which is like, what is the relationship between Kubeflow and the projects is, you know what I mean? I think that is kind of fundamental. And so like, what about when we have a new project? Like that causes, like what is graduated? You know, I mean, are we graduating the process to have, what is graduating? You know what I mean? Like this is, because what about when a new incubating project starts up, right?
I think, yeah, that makes sense, Matthew. I agree with you. Like, but I think like it's kind of async from our perspective to CNCF, right? Because from the CNCF standpoint, overall, our ecosystem is ready to go to graduation stage. I mean, we need to tackle the security standpoint, which is like one of the most important one, and we need to spend time on this. But this agreement, I agree with you, it's important. I just don't know how much time it take for us to kind of understand like how we're making those releases, right? We need to kind of process a lot of topics there, right? If that makes sense.
Like, because we're kind of acting as a sub foundation if we do incubating on our own as well. That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah. But I think again, as long as what CNCF guidelines was, as long as we have open governments and diversity, we can control our community as we want. Like we can have like our own sub incubation process if we have enough resources to support it, and we can say what projects we will graduate with CNCF, right? And then like when we can be official graduated project, we can define what are our graduation criteria for new projects, right? We just haven't got a chance with Francisco and other folks with KSC to talk about this. Because for the long term, it definitely makes sense. Like, with the conformance program, all these things come in, right? Which is not there yet, if that makes sense. All right. Yeah, so should we move on to security topic then?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense for me, like definitely maybe creating also sub-issue for engineering principles and see what we need to work on make a lot of sense.
I want to tackle this one as well. I can be responsible for this one. Then security, we have the open SSF. So something we need to discuss. Suggested is the silver or gold badge. That's the suggested. But then there is a pass, right? That we can use. Let me see if I can click on this thing. So this is the passing level criteria. So this is passing, and then it's a lot of this, and then we have silver, and then we have, yeah, the gold here. Probably we want to focus on the passing, and that should be fine. That's something we need to double check, but which will be all of these. I already put it on the spreadsheet as well. There is some section about the website content.
Just one question. What are the differences between silver and gold? Is there any specific?
I haven't looked in detail, but it will be, of course, more requirements.
Okay.
I can take a look and see, or if someone wants to focus on security as well, can help us review it and see what are the different, aspects. I'm wondering, like, Ricardo, you said you already, which ones are you focused on? Are you on the passing or what level?
Well, I actually didn't know about those criteria. All I did is just started with just a quick start with filling the questionnaire, and with that, I'm going to discuss with the KFP team on how to meet the other criteria. But I'll focus on the silver initially and see if we can achieve all of the requirements for silver.
Yeah, by the way, I just checked like Argo workflows. They create a batch. Every person create a batch by themselves. So I can see Alex created 2 of them, and a few other members creating the Argo events. So it's like, it's good if you have like centralized account. I will try to do, but otherwise we can just use it what we have. Yeah. So, but I think overall, yes. Let's. It would be nice if maybe working group leads can report the status on this, so we can. So maybe we should not duplicate the work. If, for example, like Ricardo, like if something which KFP doesn't have and you kind of understand that other projects also don't have, maybe you can let us know so we can all kind of prioritize, right? Because we need to kind of some sort of have a joint effort on this, right? If that makes sense. Yeah, maybe we can use this this call as an opportunity for working group leads to have a sort of stand up, right? Then we can ask them to attend this call and report their status on this.
So
What do you think?
I think overall that's what like other foundations, well, I'm saying we're like a foundation, but where they have like, some regular report from the sub projects, right?
Yep.
I feel like that to the community at large, but maybe also to the KCSC, I don't know, right? It feels like that would be a maturity.
No, we should this. I know Kubernetes working groups also doing regular reports, like yearly reports about their working groups, and
it's about like health. It's like how many people are contributing. It's like future of the project, things like that, right? I mean, we can look at what the Apache Foundation CNCF do internally, but yeah.
I like what Kubernetes is doing with their batch working group and Circle working group, right? So maybe we can learn something from this, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because it helps us decide, what we do long term. If if a working group isn't needed anymore, it will make that much more obvious. For example.
Yeah. We have these rules in the charter, but it's kind of outdated and we don't really follow them. Like when the working groups needs to be, can be retired and can be removed, right?
I think we should have some common working group charter as well, where it's like there's a base charter for all working groups, and then there's specific elements for specific pieces. Because it seems like there's a lot of duplication across all the charters as well. But yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
Right.
Going back into this list, the one that I selected was the passing, and then there are items that are must or should, and then there are others that are suggested. So the ones that are in orange are the ones that are must or should. So the suggested are not highlighted here. So this will give us a sense of what are the things that we need to do, which is around maybe 80% of what we have on the list. So maybe Ricardo, for you, since you guys already started working, it would be interesting to see, maybe you already accomplished all of these, the passing, and as you said, maybe for the silver, you just need to do, I don't know, a couple more items. It would be interesting to see like where is pipelines right now. I think that would be interesting to see for each component, if you can, the leads can review this list and see where do you think you are on the level. Looking into first the passing. to see how far are we, because it's the passing is enough and everyone is on passing, let's say that, but you know, the best case, maybe we attempt to achieve the next level, but if everyone's passing, like at least we know we are ready from the security standpoint. So from the security is also the open SSF that we were talking, but also there are additional items. There is this security self-assessment document, which I haven't read yet, but there's something that we need to look in more detail. So what else we have? Assignment
I think
security.
the tricky part,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
sorry, like tricky part will be like number 7, right? We don't have clear discover, process, report security issues, right? And
Yeah, and the tax. Yeah.
did
Yeah.
you? So what about security audit from CNCF?
Yeah, that is a process. So what I found is on the link, there is a process for the talk, and the talk is they are listing all the processes that they need to do. That's something that we need to review with them probably. And one of the things is going through that security review. There is a whole paragraph about it. So that's something that we need to go with them at some point. So we need to talk to them to learn more about it. And then the last one is the ecosystem, which is a public documented list of adopters, indicate their adoption level. So this is something that I don't think we have. We do started documented the adopters, but I don't think we have the level, like either in production, on dev, or just testing. Then what else? Use the appropriate capacity by at least 3 independent and direct adopters. And then clearly documented integrations compatibility with other CNCF projects. This one we don't have. I don't think we have. And then adoption.
I think so. Sorry, on this point, number 13, right? I think this section around add-ons could help us. So I think we call this Kubeflow integrations. One of the idea was, and Kubeflow integration, we can list all the integrations all the projects have, including cloud native projects, because we already have a lot of cloud native integrations, you know, with Argo, with JobSet, with Istio, right? I mean, the majority of ecosystem we use within Kubeflow, right? So we can just link it there, right?
Yeah, that's
Plain.
true. I'm wondering if we can include more as well, like what about including, I don't know, more about, I don't know, observability or any other security capabilities.
Yeah.
How is it
Yeah,
possible
yeah,
to
yeah. So having
integrate
that,
with that? Or-
that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, we do have, it's true. And then this one is the adoption. So this one is the talk. They will be interviewing customers, well, not customers and users, adopters. And this is something that they will be writing about it, how the organization, you know, is using the product, what is the, well, what it's saying here, what is the value for them. So probably we need to reach out. We need to know how many adopters, and then we need to reach out to adopters and see who will be available for
Yep.
these interviews.
Yeah, we've done the same for incubation, so that makes sense. Since I've also interviewed some of the companies when we went to incubation.
So this is like a high-level overview. I think it was important for us that so everyone kind of know, at least have an idea of what we need to do, and also people can start thinking how they want to contribute and start adding their names. We need your help. I don't know, is there anything else we want to tackle in these last 3 minutes?
I think this is super helpful. Anything else? Thank you so much for working on this. I think creating the again umbrella issue for every sub you know, like work maybe is a good next step for us, so we can allocate work, right, and start onboarding people to work on some of these items. Very easy to solve, and that is why, like, I think we can maybe ask, you know, students or, you know, new maintainers to work on this, and some more kind of complex topics. I guess we need more kind of working groups alignment, right, on this.
Yeah.
Any questions from the
That's
community?
true.
Like, yeah. Any other like suggestions? What maybe what we need to do better? Like how we think we should process with it?
I think this first meeting about this was always going to be chaotic, and I think, you know, and I think our internal KSC first meeting about this was also chaotic, but now that I think we're dividing up the chaos, I think it's going to get a lot better. And so huge thank you to Valentina and everybody who's working on this. And yeah, I think, you know, the community, you know, if we're aligned and we have a target, I think we can crush it. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I think my
Thank
only
you.
question, how to get alignment for working groups. I know like Ricardo, you kind of in sync with pipelines team. Matteo, you're helping out with model registry. Like I can help you with, training operator or trainer and Kati projects. What about, notebooks and, Spark operator? I guess Matteo, you can help with notebooks, right? Like, do we have any kind of, I mean, we don't have time right now to talk about like, how we should process, but Matteo, what do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
No, just a very quick suggestion because we touched on this point in yesterday release team meeting. So I think, for example, one action item that it was identified here today is that the KSC will create this account and then share the password with the different working group leads. I think that we should take the chance of the release team meeting that happens every week to say, hey, there is an action item ongoing for all working groups. So please advise the first order of business that you want is to make sure that you get the credential for that account, and there are some OpenNSF that is going to be filled out so that people can start to look like the questionnaire like Ricardo or myself have been doing, and sort of like wondering how to best approach these things. Then as well, I understand that Valentina and UKSC will create the different issues. So there are going to be also other issues beyond OpenSSF. So let's communicate that one as well in the release team meeting. And I think that one point as well, it will be important if we have a target date that we're aiming for, that this is repeated during the release team meeting, because this is where we sort of like heads up where we know that we need an action item done in the different working groups by that time. That's only the suggestion I had. Thank you.
Yeah. I think like, identifying what dependencies we have, like what we need to do by ourselves. And what I think like again, what CNCF told us, security audit like one of the most complicated things to do for graduation. Which means like probably if we want to do before November, KubeCon like in Atlanta, we might need to start this audit right now. And I think this is kind of on me to speak with them to see like what we can do and how we can initiate it. Yeah, but I think at the same time, working groups should work on this, items, right? To at least have some progress there, right? Um, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I
So,
think you also have to keep in mind
hmm?
some of the open source badge or best practices badge there, they require some platform components. So I'm not sure whether we can get the full certification for each sub project. I think I answered that in the issue there, what exactly is covered by platform components and what individual working groups can solve on their own.
Can you give example, like Julius, when it is not possible to do without platform?
Let me open it up again. I think there was something about mutual TLS, for example, will be quite difficult without Istio, or the certificate manager stuff. So there are some platform components which probably are relevant that
Yeah.
need checked.
So let's maybe, yeah, I think it's a good point. Can you maybe identify these items to the next working group call? So next basically graduation call, and we can see how we can explain it, because we can say that those pieces are part of Kubeflow projects, but they kind of should be installed from Kubeflow manifest, right? Because like the trick for us, I don't know like if how we can create Kubeflow platform, or like it is not the project, right? And I think this is like another discussion we just need to get time to speak right now, that what Macho was talking about, what projects we identify for us to go to graduation, right?
Yeah, it's actually in the Kubeflow graduation Slack where I asked, do you include the answers here? I think from 11:50 for today. Your time might be different. It's my last message in Kubeflow minus graduation.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes,
And
yes.
there it says, for example, if I go there, okay, copy the link.
I think a lot of what this can be done is kind of, I think there's a lot of discussion around maybe moving some of the stuff which is optional for users into the dashboard, right? Like so, then that could be a component that could, I guess, get graduated, but as an optional component, because different distributions use different auth and stuff.
Yeah. So I think maybe it's a good point for us to kind of follow up on, because I know over time, I agree with you, Julius, like some of the components require, like Istio for MTLS, right? And other kind of things we need to cover, but it will be really nice if you can maybe propose this to discuss on topic, and maybe we can talk about it, because we can at the same time working on other items which is kind of low-hanging fruits, right, for us, so we can tackle them.
Yeah, the low-hanging fruits, for example, like pod security standards restricted, stuff like this, just the Kubernetes best practices. I think we can do all of that in your individual projects.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Any last questions, comments? What we can do better? Do you like the meeting? Like, or it was not useful? Like, what do you think? Any?
I think we
Right
need to
then.
know who's responsible for what. Like, I think we do need to agree once we've kind of got once we agree on what we're doing, we should assign people tasks. So yes.
Yep. Yeah. So I think the next step, again, creating account. This is on me. I think Valentin, you will help us to create some umbrella issues for all the what is it?
Yeah. The
Subtasks,
sub-items.
right?
Yep.
And then we can assign the small, it's like, small tasks to the maybe individual contributors, right?
Yeah.
So they
I
can start.
think one thought, it seems the security is the thing that we should prioritize because it's complex, has a lot of items, and then we need to go through the security review, which takes a lot of time, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So that's maybe what we can focus on the next meetings, because it probably will be the one that will take longer. So maybe can we ask if the working groups can at least review the list, see where they are, and we could have a discussion maybe in the next meeting or in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I hope, like, again, working groups probably should, at least one of the DRI should attend this call, right? We should, I should also tell, to Spark operator folks so they can at least also kind of prioritize this.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds great then. Thank you so much. Maria, do you have your hands up before we jump off?
I will try to be very quick. So I think that the next question that is going to be asked is that since each working group is like now responsible for the delivery, if something sort of like is taking more time and sort of like they identify the scope for this graduation is a subset of all the project that we have today, not thinking the project that will come tomorrow, but the project that we have today, I think that we should have a clear process on how project that is already existing today that is not in part of the scope, if any, then we'll need to iterate towards the next round. Because this is to me the part that is unclear. I can understand that we will need to figure it out for new project that may be joining Kubeflow in the future, but for existing project that for some reasons, I don't know, we don't get enough feedback from the working groups on things like that, how we're going to approach this part.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like how we can, I think this is back to the Matthew's point, like how we can ensure working groups are kind of working on something, right? And we have like, we don't really, they communicate with us, like with the community overall, like so we all have a success for the entire, ecosystem. Yeah, it's a good point, Matteo, I agree. All right then. So I guess like see you all soon in next working group meetings and also community calls. Let's follow up. And again, thanks again, Valentina, so much for working on this. It's super helpful.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure. Bye.
See you soon.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.